What's going on, guys? This is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and I wanted to shoot this video today of training over 40 years old. Now, some of you might be watching this, might be 50, you might be 60, but I think some of the same methods and rules apply, and I'm here to try to explain to you how you can modify your training as you age. But before we get into that, please like, subscribe, and comment on some things that maybe you've had to change as you've gotten older through working out. Now at 40, usually we've acquired some mileage on our bodies, either knees, lower back, shoulders. Actually had a Patreon client come up from Texas and bring his daughter that had an ACL reconstruction, and he also had shoulder problems. So some of the exercises that we would have normally done 20 years ago are limited based on the fact that we have previous mileage or previous injuries. So the big thing is that trying to modify and not miss is a major factor in getting older to train. Again, sometimes training with a straight bar may not be optimal if you have a shoulder and elbow issue, but dumbbells don't hurt. So flip to dumbbells. Sometimes dumbbells may be problematic, and then you can switch over to some machines. Now, in a general sense, I wouldn't want to train machines if we're 100% healthy. But some people actually get a lot out of doing machines at this age based on the fact that some of the stabilizer muscles have either been injured or compromised due to past training mistakes. Interestingly enough, the person that came up to us from Texas this week hadn't benched with a straight bar in a long time and had only used a football bar. But when we had went through and restructured his straight bar training technique, his shoulder wasn't any problem at all. And so a lot of times, some exercises that we may avoid as we get older can be reintroduced with proper coaching. You just have to go and find an expert and make sure that you're not making any drastic mistakes through your technique that could be causing a major issue. For example, this person from Texas had his wrist rolled way back and he had a shoulder problem. Well, if you're rolling your wrist way back in the bench press, you're putting the pressure more over your shoulder. And what I always like to use this saying or analogy in is the body will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And this is very, very true, especially as we get older. We've done the same thing in the same position for so long that we have an ingrained motor pattern that sometimes needs to change. The next thing that we need to discuss is that normal equipment may not be optimal. For instance, deadlifting can be very hard on our backs, and for some people, it's just not doable anymore. Now, with proper coaching and technical proficiency, I do think that deadlifts are mostly optimal for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. But in some cases, the deadlift just can't be done anymore due to spinal stenosis, former disc injuries, bone growth at the vertebrae. You have a lot of different types of things that could be happening as we age, but it doesn't mean that the lower back and the glutes don't need to be super strong. This is where 45-degree back extensions, reverse hypers, things of that nature are mimicking in some ways, shapes, and forms the deadlift without actually doing it and compressing and doing more vertebral spinal compression in a vertical sense. So a lot of times with our warm-ups and our accessories, we'll pick things that are far less compressive in order to us to sustain the muscles without the mileage. The last thing that I have found over my years of being over 40, now I'll be 46 this year, is that we just don't absorb nutrients the same way. You know, at 20 and 30 years old, even in my mid-30s, I was able to eat almost anything and my body would anabolically use it to put on muscle. I would get super strong, and now my stomach's more sensitive to improper foods. This is where nutrition becomes a huge factor, and also blood work. So I feel anytime after about 30, you need to be getting consistent blood work in to see what your kidney functions are, to see what your blood pressure is, to see what your hematocrit and hemoglobin is doing, especially if you're on TRT. A lot of these things is just more maintenance. It's not that you can't be healthy at an older age, it just takes more work. It's just like anything else. So as our cells age and as our digestive systems age, what we start to realize is that these things change our body's capacity to be able to withstand poor choices in food and things of that nature. I'd like to also hint on making sure that sleep is optimal. You know, usually over 40, we're deep into having children, our jobs are stressful, so the family life is stressful as well, and we don't prioritize recovery and sleep as well, which we should. And so I think one of the biggest things that I learned from Charles Poliquin the last few years that he was alive was that he wished he would have taken recovery and sleep more seriously. And he thinks that would have helped him with his heart issue and at least extended his life a lot longer. So I hope this video has helped you guys out a little bit to open up some thought processes on how you train. A lot of the people that we have on online coaching are over 40, and for this very reason. It's very good to have an expert in your corner telling you exactly what you need to be doing and adjusting it based on your workload and your stress levels on a consistent basis. This takes an expert mind and an expert insight in order for this to happen at an optimal level. So again, online coaching is going to be your best bet. But if you have any more questions on this, join Top Tier Patreon, take a look at the workouts. We got guys in their 60s on these workouts and still sustaining and even slightly gaining strength and muscle tissue and been doing it for a long time. My good friend Chief Wu, he's 67 and still benches over 300 pounds at 190 pounds body weight with no injuries. So again, it is possible. It's just going to take smarter work for you to get there. So this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. We hope to see you guys either on Patreon or online coaching.
Hey, this is Gunnar Peterson. I'm a friend of Matt Wenning's, and I've worked with Matt Wenning, and I've been honored to share a stage with Matt Wenning, and I want to tell you this. His programming is second to none. None. I bring myself into that too, but his programming is phenomenal. His Wenning warm-up changed the game in warm-ups, and honestly, if I'm looking for an online program and I need to mix it up, I'm calling Matt Wenning.